and gentlemen, this cup is yours. One more time, your world champion, Bugha!
This is one of the most memorable moments in Fortnite competitive history, but does it live up to the hype that it's remembered for? Well, to analyze that, we need to split this into two different sections, before the final game finished and after the final game finished. So let's jump right into it. The day starts with yet again another drip check, as Sundown and Bugha yet again are dripped out with 3D tracked emotes in the background, which, we'll come back to later. While Bugha gets hidden by a tree and I avoid a DMCA strike by skipping over the Marshmallow concert, they show the incredible prize pool. $3 million for first place, and the rest of the change ain't too bad either. The format pops up, and this is the arena format that I've had for so long until this season's changed. This is how long we've had this same format for. So come on, we gotta change this up, arena. It's not looking so good. Seems like in solos we were spared from watching Mike Realm's remixes of all the casters, and we moved over to the predictions of the players. There were a ton of predictions for Bizzle, for Dubs, there were some thrown in there for Bugha, Benji, and Mongrel too, so it was mainly the big names who were being predicted to win by the players. Once the predictions were over, it was finally time for game number 1. The first fight that we watched was one that was set the scene for the day, Snazy versus Bugha in Lucky Landing. I actually didn't even remember that this was Snazy, despite the fact I very much so remember this fight. It was long and drawn out, and eventually no one ended up winning. Our champion would make it through these kind of fights and still place first. Off screen, the heavy sniper would absolutely save this game, coming in super clutch, but unfortunately the mainstream didn't actually get to see these shots. The reason that they didn't get to see them is because a lot of the time they were focused on King from the Brazil region, who had a huge pop off this game. For the time, he had an extremely mechanical fight, picking up Letwick in the early game, and continued his rampage, picking up 7 eliminations in the first game before going down relatively early. It was at this moment that Bugha was shown back on screen again, already with a ton of eliminations to his name, and he wasn't going to stop there by any means.
On the bottom, stuck in the box, big hits, back-to-back shots. Bugha picking up another elimination.
Bugha is insane
now. Almost going to be his game to win. We'll see here another one. Can he find the 9th elimination and the first victory royale, the World Cup solos?
Here it is! Shockwave died! Shots coming in! No elimination yet for the first game victory royale!
Oh my gosh! Confident play from Bugha. What a monster, the first victory royale.
The crowd on their feet!
This victory royale from game 1 set the scene like any other tournament I've ever seen. 9 eliminations and a victory royale in game number 1. And to do it in such style as well, that was a statement on the entire lobby. The leaderboard at this point shouldn't surprise anyone, as Bugha was in first with 19 points, and with the huge 7 eliminations that King also got, that put him up into second. There was clearly 2 players to keep your eye on in this tournament.
Do you guys want to see another Fortnite World Cup next year? Should we do this again?
You guys want to see another Fortnite World Cup next year? Next year?
Oh god, that's stupid. Making videos is fun. So game number 2 starts off, and off screen Bugha actually ends up going down, so the main feed doesn't manage to catch this, which is a huge fault for not seeing the player in first being eliminated. King absolutely continues his rampage, picking up Tfue and too many other players in this match. This game only had a 29 moving, which I thought was very interesting given it was on the complete southwest side of the map, which was notorious for bad zones in this particular season. King goes down relatively early yet again. Vivid has a great game, but this. And somehow Dubs manages to take height without a shotgun. Sky ends up picking up the victory royale in game number 2 because, well, Dubs didn't have a shotgun. Even after Bugha going down early in game number 2, he's still 1 point ahead, and King closes the gap. Benji hits the iconic double thumbs up pose and is ready for game number 3. Game 3 gives us a really interesting map view where we can see where a lot of these players are landing. Tilted, Happy Hamlet, Frosty Flights and Mega Mall are all heavily contested in a way that would just never work out for these players landing there. To contrast game number 2, it's actually King who goes down early this time instead of Bugha. He gets picked up out of the sky in this top left replay by Crew. And in a second contrast to the previous game, Dubs has a shotgun this time and uses it in beautiful fashion to pick up the game 3 victory royale.
He
onto it. He's still holding position. Dubs has the high ground, but he lands in front of him, and Dubs gets a victory royale on the world stage.
Absolutely incredible for Dubs to connect. Finally hits all of his shots and nearly a back-to-back performance right there. That is the kind of comeback story you want to see here on the main stage.
After a second in game number 2 and a victory royale in game number 3, Dubs was flying up the leaderboard. And because of another big game that went relatively unnoticed, Skite was also now up into second, whereas King had dropped down pretty considerably from being eliminated off spawn. After establishing Dr. Lupo's age, it was time for game number 4. Now this game I have a big problem with. If you were to guess how much of Bugha was shown in this game after he's currently in first place, what would you guess? The answer is 0 seconds of his POV. Now we did get to see an amazing mongrel pop-off, but there was 0, and I mean 0 check-ins with the current leader Bugha, who placed extremely well in this match. They did a good job to check in with everyone else from 2nd down till 5th, including Dubs and King. But Mongrel's pop-off was pretty much the entire focus of the endgame.
He's still in the game here. He's gonna go all the way for it, and that's a trade out with the 109 to the face here.
Huge elimination on Takamura. We're into a 1v1v1v1. Top 4 players now. Mongrel in the ultimate low ground, going up against a player. It's gonna be Bugha. The game 1 winner will not be enough against Mongrel, who does get picked quite a bit. He loses a lot of HP. No more builds, but the victory royale goes to the veteran Sam, who manages to pick up a massive win.
Using the shockwaves in the final moments.
Now what's annoying is that was an 11-point game for Bugha, which went from 26 points up to 37, which now gives him a massive lead, and there was almost none of it shown on the broadcast at all.
August 1st, all will be revealed. And my God, I got the chills right now. That's the first time we saw that. They didn't show us anything.
It is.
Oh my goodness, you see how excited everyone is.
But on to game number 5. Now this match is actually a match that I feel is the turning point for the hype of this tournament. Up until now, the first 4 games have been very, very interesting, with some huge moments that really built upon the storyline of Bugha clearly being the best solo player there, with the massive pop-offs from other players and some great storylines intermingled into this. However, in this game, Bugha ends up placing 4th, which is incredibly consistent up until this point. And looking at the leaderboards once this match is finished, he's on 47 points, with the 2nd place player Sam being on 32. Now mathematically, even if Bugha was to get 0 points in game number 6, the final game, Sam would need to win a game, which would get him 10 points and put him up to 42 points, and then he'd need to get 6 more eliminations, which is 2 more than he's had at all across the first 5 games, to be able to actually win and be the world champion. Now, is that going to happen? Almost definitely not. It was possible, but the chances of that happening were extremely low. And this is still assuming that Bugha gets 0 points in game number 6. This meant that honestly the hype of this storyline kind of died out a little bit in the final game because we already knew who the winner was. Now luckily something really interesting actually happened in the 6th game, which was the victory royale went to Crew, who before this match was performed extremely poorly. However, picking up the victory royale with a bunch of eliminations actually moved him all the way up into 6th place, gaining him $600,000 from this one match alone.
To a heel off. T-Chubb dropping down those campfires. We'll see here. Crew following it all the way in, and T-Chubb goes down. Crew with a victory royale.
Crew with 7 eliminations and the victory royale. The monster performance at the end of it. That could have just secured him hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Now that's the assessment for before, but what about after? Well, this was done so incredibly well.
Maybe even over $1 million by just that game right there with how he does. But ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats him. Your Fortnite World Champion, Bugha!
In duos, there was 4 minutes and 2 seconds before our winner was picked, which quite frankly was an absolute buzzkill. In this, once we'd seen that Crew had won the game, there was a quick reaction there, and then almost instantly, Bugha was announced as the winner of the World Cup solos, with large explosions and general hype all round. The atmosphere of the crowd brought up this moment 10 times to what it would be in any other tournament. The LAN event with the huge crowds, the incredible casters and hosts that were there at the time made this moment so special and brought it out to be the memorable moment that it really is. So despite the fact that there wasn't necessarily a huge winning moment in the final game, and if this was online, I don't think this would have been remembered as a really sick moment at all, but because it was in a LAN environment with this crazy crowd and amazing hype from Courage JD, Lupo, and Golden Boy, this moment is one for the history books.
Ladies and gentlemen, this cup is yours one more time.